office parks.
We are talking about Houten today in the Netherlands, and this is a place that I have found fascinating because it is, to me, the perfect example of what we could be building right here in Langley if we have the leadership and boldness to do it. It is a city that is designed not around the car but around people. It has cycle tracks throughout, and it is the first time I heard about the city was this video here from Nick Laporte. It really does. It's not the first example of this kind of place. There are other examples of these types of places being built. One example in the UK is Poundbury, which is also a kind of, but that's more a traditional urbanist. This was part of one of several neighborhoods in the Netherlands which were built under the Vinex scheme, which was just to house a growing population. And so I just found this very interesting, this place, and this video just completely, opened my mind to the possibilities of what we could be doing right here. And more recently, this video is a little bit old. I mean, this is back in 2024. It's almost exactly a year old, August 2024. And more recently, we've had this video from Not Just Bikes. He talks about
places with single-family homes
as well.
Are so much nicer than a typical car-centric suburb. I saw these houses, which were built right off the cycling path, which is really nice, right? These single-family homes in Houten aren't built on wide suburban streets with useless front lawns. So people here can live in single-family homes and still have nearly car-free streets that are safe enough for children to cycle on, and still be just a short bike ride to a train station as well.
So this is what happens when you design a place around people, is you incorporate all forms of transportation, public transit, cycling, sidewalks, and as well as that, mixing in the uses. Houten has business part, local business. It's not just residential everywhere. It's one of the few, I don't know if I can open this up now, one of the few residential neighborhoods where if you actually look on a map, like you go to Google Maps and you search cafe, and you will find cafes throughout it. It's not just, oh, there's the mall with the cafe in it. It's one of the few newer places, I should say, that have been built where they truly do separate use. I'm going to try and open that up right now on my screen. Let's see right here. Oops. Then let's go back here. So if we look at Houten on web browser and we go to search cafe, coffee, not cafe. Maybe it's the term. Yeah, there we go. So you've got cafe right here tucked in. You've got other places, coffee shop there. And this is kind of my, select everything. This is kind of my urbanist scorecard, is what I look for cafes. Or another option is sushi joints. Let's see. So there you go. You got a sushi place here. You got some there. And it's another way you can kind of test. I mean, there could always be more, right? And there could always be more different types of business. But that's kind of how I judge how walkable places and how close people have to local business options. So, obviously, the way the Houten has been designed with these cycle paths, it means that it's very easy for anyone to get to any sushi or coffee shop they like within a short bike ride or even a short walk. And if you're curious a little bit more about the grid plan, if you go to our strongtownslangley.org website, you can check out our library and then go to, actually you can click here, case studies. And then we actually have, Houten is one of our case studies on the website. And we got those two videos I've already talked about on here. And you can actually see an interactive map of the street network. And you can see that the cycle paths are marked in blue. So that's all the cycling, safe, separated cycling infrastructure All the residential streets are green. We can turn off streets if you want, if they get in the way a bit. Major ring road, basically a major road is this ring road, and it cuts through the middle as well. And yeah, so you can see this kind of web of safe cycle paths. And you can also really see this sort of linear park that goes through Houten. So it's just a fascinating community, and you know, it shows us again, as I said at the beginning of this. This is what we could be building. There's no reason we couldn't be building this. Absolutely no reason, if we're brave enough. And a key point as well about Houten is that it doesn't exclude cars. You can still own a car. You just can't drive from like here to here, or maybe over here. You know, maybe the Google Maps would be better for this. So let's say we want to go from here to there. By car, it says we have to go all the way out to the ring road, and then we can go up and we can get there. Or we can just walk, or in 9 minutes by car, or 6 minutes by bike. Because we're not allowing cars to basically just trample all over the entire city. Houten doesn't let you do that. You have to go around the outside. And it's funny talking about this place because I've never been there, but that's the fact, you know, this is the era we live in, is there's so much content, so much information that you almost don't need to go somewhere to get an idea of the benefits. And, but to not delay things anymore, I think it's time we start unboxing what I said we'd be unboxing, which is this from the Netherlands. It's 2 books about Houten in Dutch, and we're going to open these up and take a look. I'm quite excited. There is a translation project to translate these books and get them into English, but for now I just bought the Dutch copy because I figured I'll work through it, and that's also I'll go into that in a little bit. So let's see. So we're gonna. All right, there we go. So I've got the camera turned around now, so you can see what I'm doing without having my keyboard out of the way. So let's open this up. All right. Wow, this is actually really well sealed. Oh, I mean, it's good, right? You don't want it opening up on the journey. Let's see. Maybe this side would be better, actually. It feels a bit, this feels a little bit more like this is... Oh, I don't want to jab the actual book. That's what I'm scared of doing. Okay, I think I just jabbed... Thankfully there was a bit of cardboard here. I just jabbed that, so that was lucky then. Okay. Yeah, this feels better. This feels like what I'm supposed to do. Okay. Oh, let's pull this cardboard out. Oh, look at this. I'm not used to doing unboxing videos, so you'll have to bear with me on this one. Yeah, these are really wedged in here. I'm so, I should have prepared for this. I should have looked up how to pronounce the names of these books. So it says Enjoy. This is the publisher, Bloodruck or something along those lines. Again, should have done research. So here we go. We've got 2 books. We've got this one called Model. I'm going to pronounce it just how I read it. Probably completely wrong. MODELSTAD HOUTEN. And we've also got, oh look, they've both got these nice little labels on. It's pretty. Oh, and it comes with a bookmark. That's nice, isn't it? Het GROEN OMARMD. I'm so sorry for Dutch. I'm probably making you really upset the way I'm saying this. Okay, let's open this up too. Now this is the one book that is being translated. There's a translation in project. If you look up, You know what? I can probably open it up right now. And I'll cut back to the browser here. There's this. This is cycling. The Green Embraced is the English title. And there is a project right now. They're raising money since not just bikes. You link to it right here. Right here. There is more interest in this. I remember looking at this a year ago and there was nothing. It was like maybe a few €100. Now we're up to over €10,000 to get this book translated. So it's pretty exciting. I definitely highly recommend if you want to read this in English, you support this project. And you can see that's the publisher right there. Support the project, donate a little bit of money, and maybe we'll get an English copy. But for now, we have this. We have the Dutch copy. And this one I don't believe is going to be translated. This is basically from what I understand, it's a series of interviews with people who live in Houten, and they sort of talk about what the life is like living there. So that'll be interesting as well, because I don't think they've talked about translating this, just this one. So what's interesting too is I thought this was going to have a sort of a box around it, but it apparently not. It's just the two books. On the website it looked like it was inside a little case, but I guess you just get the 2 books. Maybe they were just trying to help me with the shipping cost there, shipping it all the way to Canada. But yeah, so what we're going to try and do now is something a little bit unusual. So I've got my phone here with Google Translate, and we are going to jump right in. Here we go. Yeah, let's see. There you go. The group embraced. Not sure that's quite right there. Embrace the green. There you go. So this is nice. So we can kind of use the phone screen to help us take a look and maybe flick through and kind of understand something. Here we are. So you got the global plan, the first growth task, the new growth task, and it looks like the Vinex phase about Vinex, which is a kind of key part of this. And there are other Vinex, I should mention as well, there are other Vinex places. There's Brandvoort as well, which is also on our website, another case study on our website, which I learned about from a video by the Aesthetic City. Highly recommend that. Alright, let's take a look. So here's the introduction. So Houten has enjoyed widespread recognition for its unique traffic design and execution for years. Both the Growth Core and the Vinex site are designed in an original way with cycling and rail as central themes. Visitors from all over the world, primarily Europe, but also United States, Canada, hello, India, Japan, and China, come to Houten to explore this unusually designed new town. So it's interesting, they actually call it a new town here. Yeah, because new town, yeah, so you can't see it in the, you move over the camera quickly, you see it sort of italicized there as well. Because new towns are a thing all over the world. We have, Japan has done new towns, England has done new towns, Great Britain, I should say. And yeah, this is the Vinex project was basically what many countries around the world have done, which is these kind of new towns. So I'm going to just, let's just take a look at some of the pictures here. So what's this? The urban plan of the 60s. Free reign for the car. Boo! All right. Oh, this is the nice part, right? You almost don't. It doesn't matter. It's in Dutch, right? You can look at you can kind of enjoy the sketches behind this. So Van Emden's structural sketches for Delft. Expansion plans focused on traffic systems. Slow traffic is given its own space. This is interesting. These are these must be other places, I think. Okay, so let's carry on. Let me move my microphone just to make sure you're picking me up clearly. This is interesting. What's this? The modern feudal man rituals. One civil status rituals for the civil system of importance. Okay. Not sure quite understand that. There's obviously a lot of theory I'm going to have to dig into. Here we go. Alright, let's get past that unusual section. The global plan. The first growth task. So, hold on. The story of Houten's growth begins in the late 1960s. The Randstad in particular was experiencing a severe housing shortage. The then ministers of spatial planning and housing were held annually accountable for the number of newly built homes, and there were usually too few, so they had housing targets and they weren't meeting them. Houten, the province of Utrecht, was one of the locations designated by the national government to boost housing production. And that's another interesting thing. Whoops. It's another interesting thing about these new places is they are usually national. When we see neighborhoods in Canada being built, they're typically municipal. But when new towns are built in other countries, often national projects, top down, right to the top level of government, which is interesting. And I don't. It's not something that happens very often. There was something in Canada. There's one in Canada, which was the Garrison Woods. Garrison Woods was done by the Canada Lands company. I'll open that up. This was basically, it was originally a Canadian Air Force base, and so that was done by the Canada Lands Company, which is a federal authority, and so that's probably one of the closest things we have in terms of this kind of approach, like a federal approach to doing a new town. But I don't believe there was much mixed use in that. Oh, it does say a compact mixed use version. Really? Okay, well, you know what? Maybe I need to take a second look at this one. But let's go back to our Houten book for now. So what's this? The players. Whoops. Here, okay, so these are all the people involved. The municipal government task was to find players so you can bring this kind of future music. I'm not sure that's quite right. In North Holland, just across the provincial border, an interdisciplinary team was active in 1972. The team worked on the urban development and implementation of the plan. Let's see. Maybe we'll skip ahead a little bit. Let's see. Oh, let's see. This is the good stuff, right? I love looking at old maps. It's like, well, I have the British Columbia Historical Atlas. I highly recommend that. If you haven't checked that out, it's got loads of these kind of old colonial maps, which I find fascinating as well. But yeah, okay, let's see. So overview, got main roads and car traffic, roads and streets, main route for cyclists. So you can see, you can kind of see that. Let's try to translate the words on there as well. So center. Hey, look at that. What's this? What's this? Door key. Okay, interesting. There's this. This is the north, right? Yeah, this must be the northern phase, the first phase, I believe. Yeah, this is the north phase, which came first before the second phase in the south. See, to prevent cars from dominating the area, parking clusters were created out of sight of the houses. They hide the parking behind the houses. Again, it's what we're talking about. So, cars are not banned, but they are tucked out the way, right? We don't need to allow cars to dominate. We can still accommodate cars. People will use cars to get around and, commute. Obviously, in Houten's case, they have the advantage of the train station, which really gives people option, not to have to use their cars to get to the city center, another city center where there are jobs. This is interesting. So this is showing actual building footprints as well. And from what I understand, I remember something, I believe it was in the Clayton plan, that they said that looking at the building footprints is really important for understanding, the street grid. So it seems like they followed that same approach here. I'll have to look that up, but getting those footprints. I don't know the exact reason. There's probably a very good reason. I presume it's just to make sure you get the scale right. So they put the building footprints on here as well, which is really, really cool. Really glad I'm able to kind of zoom in on this using my phone and get a really close look. Otherwise I'd be pulling out a magnifying glass, I guess. Okay. Let's carry on. See, that's nice. This is why, even though the book is in Dutch, as I said, it's really great to be able to look at this. A characteristic pedestrian street. A meandering wall along the central green zone. Unclear fronts and backs in The Werewolf. And Werewolf 1. To rent cars are dominating the area. Parking clusters are created out of sight of the houses. I'm really hoping my background music isn't too loud. It looks like it's fine based on my V meter. I'm going to just turn it down a little bit more just in case. Okay, and this one is Entrance Hall in Schonenberg 2. Interesting. See, what I find really interesting too is obviously I grew up in England, right? I grew up in the UK. And I can totally, the similarity between Dutch houses and British houses and building style is very interesting to me. The kind of obviously the brick and the overall kind of vibe is quite similar. But certainly in the UK, it's not as common to see the level of cycling infrastructure that you see in the Netherlands. The Netherlands is this whole own thing when it comes to that. But some of the new towns in the UK did try to accommodate cycling, like Milton Keynes has the Redways system. What's this? Internal structural agreements for a residential area. Okay, what does this say? Subdivision theme. Closed building block. Narrow streets without cars. Parking solution in corners building block. Streets narrow, cars out. Interesting. Public space. Solution, I guess, would be the parking. Castle through the access cross device area 9 fields. The last field remains undeveloped. Okay. So there's some kind of systematic approach. 9 fields, and the 9th one is undeveloped, I guess, to provide a park? I'm not sure. I'm going to have to dig into this more. So here's how they slowed cars down. Speed reduction through bends instead of speed bumps. However, they do hinder clear urban design. So this is what we do see this in cul-de-sac neighborhoods here in Langley, which is where a street will have a curve and it will have crescents. So cul-de-sacs will have little pockets of quiet residential areas, and the curves are supposed to slow people down. Unfortunately, some people would fly down the curve without a care in the world, and people become. It still requires people to pay attention, unfortunately, or be responsible. Which is can't just always solve these problems that easily. Okay, I'm not sure what's translating that. Street 6 meters wide without cars. Garden, roadway, green, garden. So this is what it's. This is actually kind of funny because you'll see street cross sections published from Langley Engineering Department, and it'll be tree. It'll be bike protected by lane, 2 car lanes, tree, median, 2 more car. It's a massive road. And this is like the polar opposite of saying, no, that's not even, there's no car It's just for cycling. This is a cycling cross-section, which is really cool. So this is pretty detailed, this book. My goodness, this is going to be a lot to work with. This is thick. Honestly, I did not realize this book would be this big. Like, this is going to be a lot to work through. We're still on the north phase here. Let's see. So we've got, what's this? Preliminary sketch of Hofstad 1 and 2. So this is interesting. So each area is sort of broken down into chunks, which are then developed by developers, it looks like. And they have to find developers who can do each piece and get it done. So you know, this is the part that, you know, this is the dirty work, is trying to figure out, okay, we can come up with an amazing plan. We have to find people who, you know, companies willing to build it and sell the homes. I feel like I'm probably skipping over so much information here about the process, and that's the part that interests me as well. Like, how did they develop this? Who was involved in making the decisions? How much community involvement was there? How top down was it? The future of Houten, let's see. So yeah, it still isn't finished after the second growth. Well, there won't be any need for expansion on the scale of the first and second growth. Completely stopping construction, we the population will decline. Support for amenities and income will then be jeopardized. It's been calculated that after the next construction objective, there will be need 2,500 to 3,500 homes, and several wells have been developed. So that's interesting. So you think if they don't keep building, the population will decline and it could cause problems. So there's a kind of almost like a Strong Towns-y type situation. That's interesting. But again, I don't want to comment too much without really going through and understanding this in detail, but here we go. So these are some ideas of how I can expand, I think. So to expand outwards. I mean, this is the kind of downside, I guess, of doing a ring road, right? Is that you've almost contained the urban boundary, which is great, but then, you know, we still have to, there is always some expansion needed, just not, obviously not endless expansion, but like reasonable, moderate expansion. And yeah, I think we're at the end of that book. Let's take a quick peek at the other book. I'm definitely going to have to dig through this though. It's fascinating, and I'm really happy with that. So this is more like interviews with. Oh, okay. Let's just open up a page. Oops. Oh. Okay. The production of a city. Houten. Only Dutch growth said to that welcomes tens of thousands of passengers every day. The intercity train from Sergenbosch to Utrecht offers travels a quick glimpse of the city centre. And the loyal observer will see that Houten has literally doubled in size in recent years. Again, this is interesting to me as well because, you know, we've faced similar challenges here in Langley and in Willoughby, and which has also grown extremely rapidly. But how do we want to do that growth? You see the countryside outside and has such a beautiful view. Yeah. What's this? Oh, these are more cross sections, I believe. Man, there's a lot to go through here. My goodness, this is like a thorough document. This is like a serious document about how this place was built. Like, this is far more detailed. I was hoping it would be detailed, but I was not expecting 2 huge books about how this town was built. Like, what a gem in terms of, because it's sometimes incredibly hard to, learn about places like this that were built, new towns, and how and why, and all the systems that we put into it. So to have it all right here with these amazing photographs and paper is just fantastic. I think that this is going to be very helpful, and I'm really excited to see, hopefully, get an English translation. I'm still happy with the Dutch version, and I'm totally going to work through it. But yes, a lot to read. Model City Houten, yes. So yeah, I think that's that. I mean, I think that's perfect. I'm thrilled by that. I'm really happy, and this is great. This is going to be a really helpful resource. It's going to be the most detailed section on our case study, so sure. But yeah, I'm going to go through. I'm going to pick out some really good stuff, and obviously be respectful as possible to the the publisher, the copyright holder. I'm not going to release like tons and tons of stuff from this, but I think there's things in here that are very helpful to understanding how to build a people-oriented place. And so I just want to say thank you for watching the live stream. Anytime I'll get something interesting in the mail like this, I'll do another one of these again. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.